Ladies and gentlemen, there's a moment in every journey when you feel like stopping. The road has been long, the obstacles many, and the reward seems distant. But here's the truth: you're often much closer than you think. You see, when you're pushing forward, it's easy to focus on how tired you are or how many steps you still have to take. What's harder to see is how close you are to the finish line. Success doesn't always announce itself loudly, but it's there, waiting just beyond the next effort. Now, think about this. Every small step you've taken so far has brought you closer to where you want to be. Each day you chose not to give up, you've invested in your future success. That's the nature of progress. It builds up, often unnoticed until the breakthrough comes. But here's the challenge. Many people stop just when they're about to win. They look at how far they've come, feel the weight of their effort, and then they give in to doubt. Don't make that mistake. Don't quit when the goal is within your grasp. The key is to shift your focus. Instead of worrying about how much further you have to go, start realizing how close you already are. Think about the time, the energy, and the dedication you've already put in. Think about how it's all adding up. Right now, you're standing on the edge of something great. And when you feel like giving up, remember this: those who succeed are the ones who persevere just a little bit longer. They push through the moments of doubt, they push through the fatigue, and they reach the reward that's been waiting for them all along. So, I urge you, keep going. You've come this far. Don't stop now. You're so close. Perseverance is one of the most important qualities anyone can possess when it comes to achieving success, but it's also one of the most challenging. The ability to keep moving forward when things get tough is what separates those who merely dream from those who actually accomplish. At some point in any endeavor, whether it's building a career, working on a relationship, or striving for personal growth, you will face obstacles. These obstacles often come when you least expect them, and they tend to test your resolve in ways you might not have anticipated. But it is during these moments that perseverance becomes crucial. When you encounter difficulties, it's natural to want to stop and rethink your approach, or worse, give up altogether. Doubts begin to creep in. Is it worth it? Am I really capable of doing this? Maybe it's not meant to be. These thoughts are common, but the real challenge is not letting them take over. Perseverance means recognizing these thoughts for what they are: temporary feelings of uncertainty, and pushing through them. It's about understanding that the struggle is part of the process and not a sign that you should quit. One of the reasons many people give up is because they start focusing too much on the discomfort of the moment. They feel tired, frustrated, or overwhelmed, and suddenly the goal seems unreachable. The key is to shift that focus. Rather than dwelling on how hard it is right now, it's essential to remind yourself of why you started in the first place. What was the purpose behind your goal? What motivated you to begin the journey? Reconnecting with that original spark can reignite your determination to keep going. Moreover, it's important to realize that challenges are not roadblocks, they are stepping stones. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to grow, to learn something new, and to become stronger. The process of overcoming adversity is what builds character and resilience. When you encounter difficulties and choose to persevere, you are training yourself to handle even greater challenges in the future. You're building mental and emotional toughness that will serve you well in all aspects of life. There's also a hidden advantage to pushing through tough times. Often when things get hardest, it's because you're close to a breakthrough. Think of it like a marathon. Runners often talk about the wall, that moment when they feel like they can't go any further. It usually happens around mile 20. But experienced runners know that if they push through that wall, they'll reach the finish line. Similarly, in your own pursuits, the toughest moments often come just before success. When you feel like you can't go on any longer, you may be closer to your goal than you realize. Perseverance is not about ignoring reality or pretending that things aren't difficult. It's about acknowledging the difficulties and deciding to keep going anyway. It's about being resourceful and flexible when necessary. Sometimes perseverance means adjusting your approach or finding a new way to solve a problem. It's not about blindly charging ahead, it's about adapting while maintaining your commitment to the goal. One of the greatest rewards of perseverance is the confidence it builds. When you push through hard times, you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. You begin to trust yourself more deeply, knowing that no matter what challenges arise, you have the strength and the will to keep going. This self-trust is invaluable. It empowers you to take on bigger goals, knowing that even if the journey gets tough, you have what it takes to persevere. In the end, perseverance is not just about reaching the finish line, it's about the person you become along the way. Each time you refuse to give up, you are shaping your character, building your resilience, and preparing yourself for greater challenges in the future. So when the path gets tough, and you feel like you've hit a wall, remember that this is the moment perseverance matters most. Keep moving forward, one step at a time, because every step is bringing you closer to your goal. And often, success is just beyond the next step. Success often feels elusive, as if it's always just out of reach. It's easy to feel discouraged when you've been putting in effort day after day, week after week, and still can't see the results you've been hoping for. But there's something powerful about proximity, about being much closer to success than you think. In many cases, people abandon their dreams right at the point where things are about to turn in their favor, simply because they don't realize how near they are to achieving their goals. One of the most challenging aspects of working toward any goal is that progress is often invisible for a long period of time. You may be putting in the work, showing up every day, making sacrifices, and yet there are no visible signs that you're moving forward. This can be frustrating and demotivating, especially when you compare yourself to others who seem to be achieving success more quickly. But what we often forget is that success doesn't come in a straight line. It doesn't always give us clear signs that we're on the right path. Most of the time, success is hiding just beyond the struggles, the setbacks, and the moments when you feel like giving up. Think of success like digging for gold. You could be mining through layers and layers of dirt, not finding anything, feeling as though your efforts are in vain. But if you stop digging, you might never know that just a few inches deeper, the treasure is waiting. Many people give up on their dreams, their goals, and their ambitions right at this crucial point just before they hit the gold. It's hard to recognize how close you are because the surface doesn't show any signs of what lies beneath. That's why the ability to keep going, even when there's no visible proof of progress, is so essential. The proximity to success also explains why things sometimes get harder just before a breakthrough. You might notice that challenges seem to intensify when you're near your goal. This is not a coincidence. When you're close to achieving something significant, the last leg of the journey often demands the most from you. It tests your patience, your resilience, and your determination. Many people interpret this difficulty as a sign that they're on the wrong path, that they should quit. In reality, it's often the opposite. This increased difficulty is a sign that you're almost there. To keep moving forward, you need to understand that proximity to success doesn't always feel like success. In fact, it can feel like struggle, exhaustion, and frustration. But those feelings don't mean you're failing. They're just part of the process of getting closer. This is why it's crucial to change your perspective. Instead of seeing the challenges as obstacles meant to stop you, begin to view them as indicators that you're nearing the finish line. Success might not announce itself with a grand sign, but it's often just around the corner, waiting for you to take one more step. Another important factor is the compound effect of your efforts. Every small action you take builds on the previous one, even if it doesn't feel that way. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean your work isn't making a difference. Each step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal. The cumulative impact of your consistent efforts is like water slowly wearing down a rock. It may not be visible at first, but over time that persistence will break through even the toughest barriers. It's also important to trust the process. Too often people give up because they can't see the reward fast enough. But success is not always about instant gratification. It's about trusting that if you keep doing the right things, keep showing up, and keep pushing forward, the results will come. You may not be able to see how close you are, but that doesn't mean you aren't close. Success sometimes arrives quietly after months or years of hard work. And only later do you realize how near you were when things felt hardest. When you find yourself at a crossroads, unsure whether to continue, remind yourself that you might be closer than you think. Your proximity to success could be much nearer than the setbacks make it seem. Keep your focus on the big picture. And trust that all the effort you've put in is leading you toward the breakthrough. Remember, success often comes to those who are willing to push just a little further, to endure just a little longer, and to trust that what they've been working toward is just beyond the horizon. One of the most underestimated forces in the pursuit of success is the power of small, consistent efforts. Many people get caught up in the idea that success requires monumental actions, overnight transformations, or sudden breakthroughs. However, the reality is that progress often comes from steady, incremental improvements that accumulate over time. Small efforts, when repeated day after day, can compound into significant achievements. It's easy to overlook the value of small actions because their immediate impact may seem negligible. You might feel like working an extra hour, reading one more chapter, or completing a small task won't make much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. But that's where the power of compounding comes into play. Just as compound interest in finance grows over time, small daily actions accumulate and lead to major transformations.